Delivery dates of a possible $1,400 or $2,000 fourth stimulus check. I have all the details in this video, so let's get into this right away. But if you haven't done so yet, or if you happen to be new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so I can keep you updated each and every day with all of these details that are changing every single day. I know it's confusing out there right now, but don't worry, I'm doing all the research on your behalf so that you don't need to, and I bring it back in these short videos a few times each and every day so that you can get all of the latest updates as they're being released each and every day. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your support. Hit that subscribe button right down below the video if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into this right now. All right, so this continues to be one of the most commonly asked questions that I continue to see down in the comments section. Now, of course, it's asked in a variety of different ways, but essentially many people are reaching out saying, hey, we're beyond the point that we need a stimulus check. It is too little, too late once again, but when will Congress actually do something, and when will they send out a fourth stimulus check? We need this money so badly right now. When will we get it? So again, it's written in a variety of ways, but that's essentially what I continue to see every single day in the comments section. So I want to lay this out for you and actually give you a constructive timeline with some actual dates that we can lean on based on the current timeline and the deadlines that we've been looking at and that have been announced by very influential people in Congress. So with that being said, we're actually using the dates that they've already announced and that they have laid out for us to actually lay out some real timelines and potential delivery dates. Now again, before we get into this, one quick note. Of course, I'm going to see comments down below in the comments section that say there is no fourth stimulus check. You're right. Congratulations. You are correct. There is not a fourth stimulus check at this moment. However, I could have said the exact same thing when it comes to the $600 stimulus check, otherwise known as the second stimulus check, and the $1,400 stimulus check, otherwise known as the third stimulus check. I could have said the exact same thing back then during this time as well, because guess what? Those checks were not in the package at this time. Both of those checks were added in at the very last moment. So, about this time last year, the $600 stimulus check was literally added in like right at the very end, it was added in. Now, the $1,400 stimulus check was also added in as a result of those negotiations that were going on last year. Do you remember all that drama? Well, here's what happened. At the very last moment, a stimulus check was requested to be added into the stimulus package at this time last year, stimulus check number 2. The negotiations brought it down to $600. Shortly thereafter, there were calls to bring it up to $2,000, which also gave birth to the Cash Act. Remember the Cash Act? We just talked about that the other day. Now, here's the thing. Of course, the stimulus check stayed at $600, but the calls to bring it up to $2,000 is what ultimately gave birth to the $1,400 stimulus check, which again was an afterthought. The original bill did not contain the second stimulus check or the third stimulus check. So we're basically at that same point right here, right now, with this package right now. So I've said this so many times, the last negotiations of the package, when they open this thing up for debate and the negotiations, that is when historically the last two stimulus checks were added into the package. So even though there's not a fourth one here right now, anything could happen. That's what I'm saying. You've got to watch this stuff very closely, and why I continue to keep you updated, because it's only a matter of anybody, literally any person in the Senate could come out with a great idea one day and say, hey, I think we should send out a stimulus check. And that's all it would take. One great idea from one person. That's it. So anyway, I want to throw that out there really quickly because then inevitably I know I'm going to see the comments down below, and I wanted to lay that out for you because I just have to. All right, let's quickly talk about this. So here's what we do know. Chuck Schumer has indicated he wants this stimulus package that they're currently working on right here, right now, this week, today, they're working on this thing. He wants this to be signed into law and done by December 24th. That is next Friday. So this coming Friday, not this coming Friday, but this coming Friday is the 17th, by the way. No, he wants it done by next Friday. So like a week and a half, a little more than a week and a half from now, he wants it completely done. Now, let's lean on that date just to give us perspective, okay? Now, again, we could be delayed. It could be done sooner than that, but I'm just saying, let's just use the date that Chuck Schumer has drawn as a deadline. Now, that is December 24th. Let's just anticipate On December 24th, it is signed into law by the president. Again, it could be before that, it could be after that, but I'm just saying let's just use that date as a placeholder because that's the date that Chuck Schumer has announced. All right, so let's use some historical data with the delivery of the last couple stimulus checks to give us a better idea of when we could potentially see a delivery of potential said fourth stimulus check. All right, so here's what we've got going on here. So, stimulus check number 2 and stimulus check number 3 were sent out within about a week, the big waves. Now, again, there were little trickles going out previously, but the first big wave, like the big pushes of stimulus checks, went out 1 week after the bill was signed into law. Okay, so let's put that into our timeline now, right? We've got our little graph, let's drop it in. So we've got December 24th as the signing date, right? It's turned into law, the president slaps his signature on it, boom, we've got a law, right? Okay. So let's add one more week onto that. That would bring us out to December 31st. New Year's Eve. That sure would be a nice little New Year's Eve gift, wouldn't it? That would sure be a nice way to end the year right there. But if for some reason they did not decide to send out payments on the 31st, that would then, I would say, probably push it out into the early next week or the week after, which would be the first week of January. The first Monday would be January 3rd. So I would say anytime between the end of the year, like literally the last day or two of December, and possibly out into the first week of January. Now, again, this is all just based on previous historical data for the delivery of the last two stimulus checks that we've seen and kind of laying this out into the timeline that we have right now. Again, this is speculation, just being totally real with you. But again, we're using historical data to lay this all out to give a better idea of when potential stimulus checks could arrive in the event Congress adds one into the current stimulus package and if everything actually passes within the timeline that Chuck Schumer has laid out. So just being totally honest with you, being totally real and transparent as I do in all of my videos. All right, so let's keep rolling here because there's a couple more things we want to look at. So one other thing we need to look at too is I know that a lot of you in this community receive benefits including Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, and RRB. Now here's the unfortunate situation. With stimulus check number 3, the $1,400 in early, well, it wasn't necessarily early, it was about April time of 2021. Here's what happened. The package was signed into law on March 17th, 2021. The first wave of payments went out. The package was signed into law on March 11th. The first big wave of payments went out on March 17th. So sorry about that. 1 week later. However, unfortunately, all these beneficiaries that I just mentioned, for some reason, there was some kind of issue going on between the Social Security Administration and the Treasury and IRS. Remember that whole situation? Like apparently the files weren't sent over and that whole business. But either way, there was a delay of about 3.5 weeks from the time that the bill was signed into law until that actual wave of payments went out for the vast majority of people in this community, and the date was April 7th. Remember that date? Oh, that was a good day, right? It was a Wednesday. I remember it very vividly. We were all waiting, and that was the date that was announced just a few days prior, and all of a sudden April 7th hit, and whoa, it was like Christmas in April, right? So many people got their money that day, and that was a really good day for a lot of people in this community. I got so many great comments that day. People so happy that they finally got the money. So, wow, it's fun to relive that day. If only we could do it again. All right, so here's what we know. That big wave of payments went out for all of these beneficiaries. Like I said, Social Security, you know the whole list, about 3.5 weeks after the bill was signed into law. So let's just say in the event that happens once again, let's cross our fingers. If a stimulus check is added into the package and it's approved, let's just cross our fingers that that does not happen again, because let's be real, we don't have another 3.5 weeks to wait for them to mess around and try to figure out how to send out payments. Now that they've done it 3 times, I'm pretty sure they have this process mastered. They should by now anyway. So let's just add this on just in the event for some weird reason this actually happens. So we've got, again, December 24th as a potential signing date. Now let's fast forward a few weeks, right? So that puts us out to the 31st would be 1 week. January 7th would be, no, that's not right. 7th. January 7th would be the 2 weeks. January 14th would be another week. So that's 3 weeks, and then let's push it out a couple more days, potentially even, what would that be? 14, 17, January 17th, potentially. Again, that's kind of out there, right? So that's about 3.5 weeks after the signing potential, if it is signed into law on December 24th. Again, I don't think that would be the situation, because that was kind of a weird accident and a weird situation, whatever we want to call it. Honestly, we don't really know what happened with the Social Security Administration and all the files being sent over, or lack thereof being sent over, right? Again, we don't really know what that situation was, and we don't really need to go down that rabbit hole again, but the fact of the matter is, there was a delay of about 3.5 weeks. So if we apply that again, anticipating a signing on December 24th, we could potentially be looking at like January 17th. But again, I kind of wouldn't anticipate that to be happening, right? But I'm just saying, we got to throw it out there just in case. However, historically, we're looking at about a week to 10 days after the bill is signed into law until the vast majority of payments are going out. So that would put us anywhere between about December 31st through about January 7th or so, right? That's about 2 weeks or so. So that gives us about a 2-week window. So it's kind of the timeline that we're looking at right now. Again, if all of the pieces of this puzzle fall together in place perfectly, we know that we're running up against a really tight timeline right here. Many people in Congress have even come out and said, this is really tight. The likelihood of this passing by Christmas is pretty slim. Let's just be real. Again, this is what people are saying. But anything can happen. Even Joe Manchin announced yesterday that, yes, he talked to the president. They were talking and negotiating on this stimulus package. And even Joe Manchin recognized that, hey, a possible vote could be happening any day now, right? So, and Chuck Schumer has also indicated that as well. So anything could be happening. And lawmakers have also reached out to Chuck Schumer and the leaders, calling on him to just bring the bill to the floor and let's just hold a vote. Let's just see what happens. So really, anything could happen at any given point right now. So that's why we're continuing to watch this very closely. But again, for any of you that have been asking this question, when will we see it? First off, what we need first is Congress to add one into the package. Then we could be looking at these timelines that I just laid out right here as potential deliveries of those payments in the event it's actually added into the package, right? So there's a lot of moving parts right here, but I wanted to lay it all out for you and just give you some data based on historical trends and historical data that we've seen from the delivery of the last couple checks, and lay it all out for you in kind of a clear, concise way as far as here's the timeline that we're looking at. So I hope this helps you, for those of you that have been asking, but we will continue watching everything very, very closely. We know that we are in the heat of the moment right now when it comes to this stimulus package and all of the negotiations, the debates, everything going on with this. So I'll keep you posted. So make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. If you haven't done so yet, share this video with your friends, family, and social media, and go back and check out some of the other nearly 2,000 videos right here on the channel, and I'll continue to be here for you every single day, as that is my commitment to you and this community as a whole. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Subscribe down below, share, and go back and check out some other videos, and I'll catch you again later in the